The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Voch Lombardi, and Derek Eagleton.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of The Break here in SWBC Mortgage Studio. We are here live presented by LG. I always have to look at all these sponsors that we got going on here. But we got Voch and Bryan Broaddus in today's show. Derek will be back later in the week. And for today, I have a bunch of just random big picture type of questions. So I thought we'll just have some fun in today's show. No weird noises happening on the show today. Watch.
Yeah. Amber, you say you got questions, you said? Well, what you got for us, Amber?
We're going to keep it clean today or try to.
It was clean yesterday, boy. You say you got questions today, though, is what you said? Boy, what you got for us today?
All right.
Whew.
So we're going to go all over the place a little bit in today's show. So let's start off right up.
I'm trying to win awards here. What are you guys doing? Yeah.
Sound effects.
I'm ruining it for us. I'm ruining it.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, make sure to check out yesterday's show.
Watch all the shows is what she means. Don't just watch.
Check out yesterday's show.
Watch everything, please.
I believe it was segment 2. But anyways. All right. After one game, are you guys more confident or concerned about Brian Schottenheimer's play calling? Looking in long term, where are you feeling of as far as his play caller duties go?
I feel good. I feel like we've been sold a ton of false goods over the years, whether it be, hey, I'm going to get this player going, or, hey, wide receiver 1 gets his, but you don't find a way to get wide receiver 2 going. And there's evidence that the best teams in the league run shifts and motions. You know, once upon a time, we didn't run shifts and motions. And some coaches will say, hey, we're going to try our best to get more shifts and motions involved, and they didn't. Shotty, what he did since week 1 is to say, hey, man, we are not going to be static. Cowboys ain't static. Cowboys are not static at all, and you see the personnel moves and the shifts and all those things, and it just seems like the Cowboys are not overthinking things, that they just want to do things simply, but they want to do things that work. If you ask some of the past administrations about running the ball, like, hey, can we run the ball better? The past administration wouldn't always have answers for you. Shotty says, look, we're going to run it. Don't worry about it. And sure enough, Javonte Williams is running the doggone football, so I don't have any doubts about what Shotty is doing. If there's any criticism, and not even criticism, and Bryan can co-sign this, just get Pickens involved too. Now, maybe it's a game-to-game thing, and the Eagles did a really good job of taking Pickens out of the game, but if you got Lamb on the other side, then there should be somewhere for Pickens to get involved. It could be a bubble. It could be something short. Just get him going, and, besides that, I think the Cowboys are doing fine on offense.
Love the first half offense. Really did. Love the motions, love the play calling, love the way that he and the quarterback were on the same page, love the way that the running back ran with some toughness, love the way the offensive line was blocking up front. That's, your play callers getting guys in position to make plays, and I really did for a half there. I really liked what I saw. And then it felt like, though, after the weather break that it wasn't there. They weren't able to get back and get that. And you could say, well, the Eagles had the same problems. I think Dallas did a great job on defense adjusting and helping themselves to play against the Eagles in the second half. I thought they did a great job of coverage. Thought they did a much better job of gap control, staying in their lanes, all those things that they needed to do. That zone coverage gave that quarterback a lot of problems. But where I'm looking now at Schottenheimer is, Voch is right. You've got to find a way. If he's going to tell me in the post game and in the weekly press conference there was cloud coverage and all that, Coach, come on now. Been in the league 25 years. Find a way to get him out of cloud coverage. Find a way to kind of get your guys moving. Just not about Turpin moving. Get everybody moving. Make them have to chase. Make them have to be able to, if you're moving CeeDee Lamb, if you're moving Ferguson, just move guys. The last play they tried to run was a really good call. Just wasn't well executed. The 4th and 2, the pick. They didn't get enough rub on Mitchell. To me, I'm finding a way to set that thing up where I'm attacking the weak link over there. I'm finding a way. I'm not attacking Mitchell. Mitchell made a hell of a play to get through that pick or that rub to get to CD, and it kept CD, got enough of him not to be able to get the football. That's the only criticism I have. I just felt like that, man, if you're going to have that call sheet, go to it and circle the ones that are working for you, stay with it, run and pass.
Also, too, Bryan, I think that something that Shotty did really well in week 1 that I just want him to keep doing moving forward. I think Dak is a good enough quarterback. He's a veteran enough quarterback. Just don't get in his way.
Right.
I didn't want to say names at first, but we'll say it. He don't work here no more. Mike McCarthy used to do a lot to get in Dak Prescott's way. And I think some of these OCs of the past, when they have really good quarterbacks, Sean Payton, Tom Moore, McDaniels, Charles, they didn't get in the way of their top-tier quarterbacks, right? Yeah. Don't this running upfield and turning around. I say it as a joke all the time, Bryan, but you can't lead the league in curls, hitches, and slants. There's no way you can think Dak can pull you out of that much of a hole. Get these guys on the move. How about some easy buttons? How about getting Turpin in open space where Dak can just dump the ball off and then we get yak yards, right? Shotty really didn't do anything to hold Dak back as some of these old coaches used to. As long as you just keep operating through 4 and just putting them in good spots, I think you'll be fine as an offense.
So we know this is the first year of him acting as a play caller, because last year, Mike McCarthy, he was the one calling the plays. But looking at him being the first time head coach and serving as the play caller here, how do you define a successful season for this version of the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, unfortunately for Shotty, if Ben Johnson and the Bears win 8 games, they're going to throw a party over there. Unfortunately, with the Cowboys, you just can't show up and win 8 games here and go, where's my party? We're looking at you in a different lens here. So Shotty has to win. And I think Shotty will win. Just don't get in Forrest's way. And I think that's your success. And it's unfair, for real, but you the head coach of the Cowboys, you're the play caller for the Cowboys, right? Yeah. So now we have to ask ourselves, like, what's best for the Cowboys? Is it best for Dak Prescott to go out and throw for 5,000 yards in a season? It looks cool, being the number 1 offense and all this kind of stuff. But we've gone through that to where the Cowboys have had the number 1 in all these metrics, touchdowns, passing yards, and all this stuff, but it didn't mean anything. I think we would all be happy if Dak threw for 4,000 yards, but you won a championship at the end. We'll live with that. Or how about if you're Schottenheimer and you call good offense, but doesn't get in the way of your defense, and you win defensively? I think that's another way that you could just get credit for it, right? So just don't overthink this thing, right? Just don't put yourself in compromise. The Cowboys were so, and I'm raising my voice, pardon me. Y'all remember when Kellen Moore was calling plays, and the talking point was maybe Kellen scoring too fast? Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, we putting too many points on the board. The defense tired. I'm like, man, that's nonsense. That's narrative, right? Like, just play good team ball, score, and make stops, and we'll be good.
I thought Dallas was the 3rd best team in this division, and going in. And I think this is a situation right now, if you want the week 1 knee-jerk reaction, this division's up for grabs. And we'll see what happens with the Giants, but I feel like the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. I didn't believe the Cowboys were this good. And I mean this good in the way that they quickly got some things together with this offensive line. I wasn't sure about the left tackle. We're looking at the right guard as a rookie. It kind of felt like that he was going to maybe have some growing pains, but it looks like to me this offensive line can handle a lot of things up front. I wasn't so sure about the running game with Williams, and then we'll see. You really didn't get Pickens going. We've talked about all that. But this offense is probably going to be your calling card, and if the defense is playing at a level where all of a sudden you're getting quality play from your defensive tackle spot, and you're finding ways to get some pressures with these edges without Micah Parsons, this defense will be a lot better. The secondary, I think, was fine in the game the other day. The linebackers have got to figure this thing out. But I kind of feel like Dallas, the 3rd best team, now just 1 week in, maybe this division really is up for grabs, and maybe it is going to be maybe it's going to be 10 or 11 wins to have to do that. I kind of felt like this was a 9-win team, but they showed me something. I don't know if Dallas is this or has gotten better, or Philadelphia has regressed to the field. that's where you got to kind of figure some things out. Is the Super Bowl hangover for real? And is this division is it really wide open? That's going forward.
Broaddus, Garcia, I don't want to play the ifs game, right? Because ifs don't count.
Right.
But if you spy Jalen Hurts and CD catches passes that he normally catches, you blow out the Eagles.
Yeah.
In real life.
You really do.
Let's just be fair. Dak has some 350-some-odd yard game. Jalen Hurts' top 2 wide receivers get, 12 yards altogether combined? You blow the Eagles out in real life.
In real life.
At their house, in the rain. You look at this team totally different. Right? Now, of course, it didn't happen, and we don't lean into ifs, but these are some ifs that you could easily fix them ifs. Like CeeDee Lamb already working on the jugs. You can call Flus on your phone. He might not answer, but you can at least call, like, hey, man, can we at least consider this?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of running quarterbacks moving forward. Can we at least consider this? I think the Cowboys are talented enough to do it. And look, just me looking around social media and national TV coverage, I don't like all this new energy like Dak Prescott is a new, really good quarterback.
No.
Dak been good for a while. Dak been a top quarterback for a while. He's been hurt guy. He may not be playoff win guy, but he's been a good quarterback for a long time. Let's get more of that in the conversation, Bryan, bro. I think the Cowboys, just like you said, it's up for grabs, Bryan.
I think
the Eagles look a little weird, and honestly, the Washington Football Wizards, I don't call them Commanders, it's a weird name. The Washington Football Wizards, the damn score was 14-7 going into the fourth quarter versus the Giants, who ain't good. I already watched the film versus the Giants. It ain't good. I think I wouldn't be shocked if the Cowboys at the end of the year won the division, bro.
Oh no, I felt like Philadelphia and the Commanders. I was kind of leaning either way, but this division just through week 1 looks like it is going to be, like I said, maybe a 10-11 win team is going to win it, and I think all the teams in it are going to have to deal with the schedules. Yeah. But Dallas, to me, at least through week 1, looks like that they're equipped. We've mentioned this inside with the offensive line. I think this team is going to be as good as its lines, its offense and its defensive lines. If those two things show up, this team could be very, very hard to beat.
Well, it needs to happen now in the next few weeks because we know like later in the half of the season, that second half to start, there are some tough teams that you're going to have to compete against. You're going to have to face the Eagles again, which I think you very much can beat them, just like you mentioned. But looking into next week specifically, what needs to change heading into week 2 against the Giants? And we'll do the full breakdown tomorrow.
Right, sure.
But if you have to give me one big fix, what would that be?
Take that same energy that you had with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts and just go, that's Tyrone Tracy and Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. Just don't get big-headed about it. Don't go, oh, we just got into this heavyweight fight with the Eagles. Oh, don't underestimate the Giants. And they're pros. I'm sure they won't. They have a lot of confidence against the Giants. I don't think Dak's lost to the Giants since his rookie year. But keep that edge. Like the Cowboys walked into the Eagles game with a certain edge. I want them to just keep that edge against teams that they should beat, right? And just remember that there's Tyrone Tracy and Russell Wilson over there as opposed to the Pro Bowlers you just lined up against last week.
Yeah, I think what they have to do is, I think I'm going to look on the offensive line side of things here. I think they did a pretty good job of handling the pressure that Philadelphia was trying to rush 4 and then had to bring secondary pressure and linebacker pressure and things like that. So to me, it's going to be about how do you manage this as we look into the New York Giants. The one thing that we think is an actual strength of theirs is their defensive line, whether it's the tackle play or the edge play. We're going to have to see the Dallas Cowboys play at a very, very high level. You can't give up a bunch of cheap pressures. You can't give up, with their twist games and stuff like that up front. You got to be able to be sound and ready to go because people are going to try and do things now to affect you. If you show that you can't block certain ways or certain fronts, you're going to get that every week, though. So right now, you need to draw the line in the sand and say, okay, we're going to handle anything that the Giants throw at us pressure-wise.
Let's go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we'll dive into some more big picture questions for these guys.
AT&T has a new guarantee because most things in life are not guaranteed. Like getting through self-checkout by yourself.
Warning, each item must be placed in the bagging area.
Not guaranteed.
Place item in the bagging area. Place item in the bagging area.
You know what AT&T guarantees? Connectivity you depend on, deals you want, and service you deserve. Or we make it right. Terms and conditions apply. Visit att.com/guarantee for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman here. As the official pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys, you know I take cookware seriously, especially when it comes to America's team. So when the Cowboys are away, I'm putting my Yeti cast iron skillets to work to make my game day favorites for friends and family. I'm talking chicken fried steak, skillet queso, and peach cobbler. And just like the Cowboys are forever, so are these heirloom cast iron skillets. Check out the full line of skillets on Yeti.com or at a Yeti store near you.
Every day begins with a promise to work hard and to build a future. That's why we're here, providing the tools, expertise, and John Deere equipment you have relied on for generations to help you get the job done right. We're with you. That's our promise to you, because no matter the project or the challenge you're facing,
we're with you. We're united. If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the break.
Choose perfection. Choose LG OLED Evo. Check out the best TV in the game at LG.com.
Welcome back to the second segment of the break presented by blockchain.com.
Ding.
Ding.
Come on, Paul.
Paul, come on. Chris is not back there. Okay, so next question for you guys. What's one area of the team you feel way more confident now than you did before the season started? Granted, we've only seen one game, but has anyone changed your mind or anything in the games specifically that made you change your mind about something that you were initially very concerned about?
Man, Bryan Broaddus, it is something else how one player can just shift how you look at a position.
Oh, I know where you're going here, boss.
Like how just one dude shuffle everybody else around, and now we can walk into a game with a big smile on our face. Boy, D-tackle was a problem.
There you go.
D-tackle was a humongous problem, and, just think about it. And shouts out to Solomon Thomas, but when Solomon first signed to the Cowboys, I thought he was going to be a backup to Osa because he's been B-gap guy. Turns out he just happened to be your best one tech in camp. Right? And that was befuddling, right? Solomon's like 305 or something. Like, how is he the best one tech in camp? It doesn't make sense. And now everybody else kind of gets bumped up because that's just where your room is talent-wise.
Right.
Kenny Clark gets here. And we broke down some film this morning on our podcast, Bryan Broaddus, and Kenny Clark plays A-gap. Now Solomon get to go back to B-gap, and sometimes he goes
play edge.
C-gap, play the edge at 5-tech sometimes, Bryan. So now we're walking into this tackle room with, like, not an embarrassment of riches, but it's like, boy, like, who we gonna line up with this week? Who's the 4th, the 5th guy? We went from, boy, I got faith in Osa, and that's it, to who's the 5th guy, Bryan. That's kind of where we are. Perrion Winfrey just went on the IR yesterday, so that's unfortunate for him. Shouts out to him. Hope he feels better, recovering his back and all that. But man, Osa, Kenny Clark, Solomon Thomas gets to move around, but still mostly B-gap guy. You have a lot of confidence in this D tackle room. And think about Toia as well.
JT.
If Jay Toia was a guy that we were once depending on, now he gets to be the 4th guy. And he had a pretty decent game versus the Eagles as well, Bryan. So that's a pretty good bump.
You absolutely got the right way. I think, give me the cornerbacks. I think there was some questions. I think there were some questions about the fact that Diggs played opening day and I'm going to say it 1,000 times, credit to him.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, I was very, very skeptical about him coming back. Very skeptical about that. But he got himself ready, got himself in shape, and then was able to be a contributor against a very good offensive receiving crew for the Philadelphia Eagles. So with all that being said, now I feel a lot better. Go ahead. You got a situation now. Diggs starts, Bland starts, and then Elam comes off the bench when you're going to play nickel. That's it was a group that we were talking about. Well, do they have enough? Do they have to go get a guy? Is it Carson? Who are they? What are they doing here? Is it, how fast can Ravel be back? No, I think that, it's a situation now where it went from being chaotic to having some stable elements to it.
Yeah, that's a good one. And now for this one, I think the answer would be pretty evident. But which player do you expect to bounce back big time this coming week?
Expect, or I would love to bounce back, or
you expect, or I mean, sure, you can say you love.
I would love if Dante Fowler played a little better. He's a guy that's the veteran in the edge room, and he got lost on a lot of those rundowns. If you're the edge, your job is more than just pass rushing. And honestly, if he's gonna make his hay as pass rusher, he didn't do that to the best of his abilities, I would say. But in the rundown, didn't read the counters as well, kind of got hooked sometimes, didn't contain really well. And if you're against Jalen Hurts and these running quarterbacks, Russell Wilson is another one that's coming there. One thing that the Washington team did really well was that they maintained the edges and they made Russell step up into the pocket, right? The Cowboys had Jalen Hurts running to the outside. You can't have that. Donovan Ezraku as well. Like, don't flop for holding calls, right? Just a football adage, Bryan, don't let them hold you, right? That's what coaches would say to you. So if I want anybody to play better, and the Giants O-line isn't great, I don't know if Andrew Thomas is going to be playing or not, but if they roll out the same five that they rolled out last week, then Dante Fowler and Donovan are going to have an opportunity to redeem themselves. But boy, if they're better on top of what you're getting from your interior, then now you can walk into the next few games with a lot of hope for your D-line as a whole.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be unpopular to say, but give me Jake Ferguson. And I think Jake Ferguson had a couple of situations in that football game where he would have loved to have back. He is very dependable, very sure-handed. Dak Prescott put a couple balls on him in that end zone that he's got to come up with. And if he catches a ball and kind of protects himself, it probably doesn't look as bad as what happened. Yes, he drew the penalty, but that's a ball that when you watch the tape and you watch from the end zone copy, the ball's on his hands and then there's no contact yet. That's a ball that Jake Ferguson catches 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, but I think this is going to be a game. We'll see how the Giants play in the secondary when we really start to break down and see where their guys are.
Well, I feel like the Cowboys tight ends usually tend to have a pretty good game against the Giants.
Sure.
Jason Witten used to own the Giants when he played against them. And so, yeah, it's a lot how they play their coverage, how they play their safeties. Those are the things that you always look for when you're breaking down the opponent. But I could see Jake Ferguson once again making some really, really tough catches in this Giants game and kind of get him back on track. There's, like I say, it's unfortunate because he's coming down with that ball. It just out of his hands and he got hit. But, man, he makes those plays. Again, 8, 9, 10 out of times for those types.
Also, too, Bryan, Ambar gave us a layup and we missed it. Who do we expect? And she said, this would be an easy answer. And we just totally went all around in circles.
That's
and we went to, you know what I'm saying? But CeeDee Lamb, right?
Absolutely.
Right,
yeah, that's the
pardon me.
the given.
Even though CeeDee Lamb was, 7 for 118?
You never really worry about him.
You don't worry about CeeDee Lamb. Right. So now CeeDee Lamb going into a game with worse corners and look, this could be a huge Pickens game as well.
Yeah.
No, but both of those guys, right? And it's hard to say, hey, 7 for 118, how's he gonna have a better game? He could have went 13 for 250, whatever. I think both wide receivers are gonna have a better day.
Pick any linebacker you want too, by the way. I mean, you hope. You hope that it's not. You hope that we're not talking about again some poor linebacker play, this week, and hopefully that those guys can kind of pull some things together. And with the offensive line the way it is with the Giants, maybe that we'll see them a little bit more active in making some of those plays downhill.
Brian, let me ask you this. I've asked you this before when me and you kind of did our pod, but let me dress it up in a different way for a different answer for you. How many games do you go, assuming that the linebacker play is bad again?
Yeah.
How many games do you go before we're thinking about big change, right? Like not just, okay, well, let's bring Liff out from outside, but before we making phone calls trying to get linebackers up in here. How many more games?
I think that you're in the situation, you're probably going to get through this month of the season. You're probably going to look at the 4 games, you see how things play out. When you've got you got this game coming up with the Giants, you got Bears and then Packers. I think after the Packers game that you will kind of figure out at that point in time that we probably need to do something differently here. Yeah. The easy changes right now, we're trying to use some of the young guys if you want, with James and Buddy Johnson. I don't know if they want to go that route, but also use Maris Leofau as well in this scheme. But if it gets to the point where your linebackers are somewhat of a liability, I think you got to go sooner than later.
Sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that timeline before making a big change of like trying to bring somebody else from the outside.
Right.
And real quick, going back to the CeeDee Lamb stuff, you mentioned Voch, him working out with the jug machine. And to me, not that I would expect anything less, because you're talking about top wide receiver. He knows what to do. He knows his job. He knows what to put into the game. But it's still like we got back around 4 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. And then I'm walking down right the next day to shoot a show right around 1 in the afternoon. And he's out there working out on his own, doing those exercises. And it's just one of those signs of relief. Not that we need it, but he's like, oh, yes, I love him. Keep doing that. Keep doing that work, putting it in. So I'm expecting him to come back and have a very good game against the Giants. Now, which position group is under the most pressure this season?
Linebackers.
For the whole season?
For the whole season, or just for
the whole season?
Linebackers.
Not for this week.
Linebackers.
They've got to figure that out. No, go ahead, Voch.
Dealing with the run, Brian. Like that's the one thing that the Cowboys, like year in and year out, have trouble dealing with. And you've looked at the tackle group on defense, right? And you've gone, okay, we've stepped up there. Now you want your edges to kind of step up, but you feel like they can. Like Marshawn Nealon will be fine as a run defending edge guy, right? If the linebackers then bring their game up, then you wouldn't have an issue about your run defense.
Yeah.
And now you can go pass rush and, catch picks all you want to. But if your linebackers are bad throughout the rest of the season, and then that creates this situation like we've been running to the past 4 years, like the team don't even have to throw against us. Like the Russell Wilson he doesn't have to throw a pass. Tyrone Tracy just ran for 250 yards. That'd be embarrassing. Yeah. So you need your linebackers to meet where your D tackles are.
Can I maybe flip this, and I'll see if I'll get a reaction from you guys on this one. You talk about the most pressure. How about the wide receivers? And I say this in a way of you feel like that maybe you gave away a game because your best receiver didn't make plays and your other receiver didn't get enough targets. Sure. Is this offense going to be predicated on how they go with Lamb and with Pickens? I know I threw in there Ferguson, stuff like that, but is there pressure on this? We feel like the running game might be serviceable right now with the offensive line. I mean, we've seen videos. I mean, we've done our own work, Voch, where we've seen movement, we've seen pullers, we've seen blockers, we've seen some positivity that way. But you just lost a game where your best player didn't perform. Is that mean there's more pressure on the wide receivers now every week to deliver at such a high level? Is the margins for this team winning and losing predicated on how CeeDee Lamb and Pickens play?
Well, going into the game last week when we were talking about this matchup, something that we all talked about here was the offense is going to have to score points to win that game. And I thought we've talked about it, like the defense did enough, quote unquote, but the offense, they left some points on the table. And yes, when you look at those key moments, you say, well, crap, like your receivers should have played better and finished that game. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
And, just like the linebackers have to meet the tackles,
right?
The wide receivers got to meet Dak.
Exactly.
You know, Dak can go out and throw the best passes in the world, but if you don't catch him, then it really doesn't matter. So, and honestly, I don't think CeeDee Lamb is going to have a big problem. I think he's going to bounce right back. I just think he wanted to compete so bad, and he wanted to just whoop the Eagles so bad that he lost his focus, on catching first and then go be fantastic yak guy CeeDee Lamb. I think he'll be better because whenever we catch CeeDee Lamb doing that, you know, running into a drop, so like pouting on the sideline, he come back the very next game, cleans it right up. So I don't have any issues with Lamb. Yeah. I do want to see Pickens though.
Yeah, I do too.
I do want to see Pickens, and
that's my only Brian Schottenheimer fault.
That
is my only Brian Schottenheimer fault for this whole thing.
And it kind of takes me back to last year moments when we were like, man, I wish we saw more of Cooks. Brandon Cooks being incorporated into the offense and being utilized a lot more. So hopefully we don't go into another season of where you're asking your wide receiver number 2 to be incorporated more. One thing I thought was positive, though, is those few plays that we did see Kevonta Turpin in there. So at least there's that, and hopefully they can figure out a way to get everybody else involved in a better way. Let's go ahead and go into our final break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation about the Dallas Cowboys.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner. With over $9 billion in business loans and more than 140 business specialists right here in North Texas, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
AT&T has a new guarantee because most things in life are not guaranteed, like getting through self-checkout by yourself.
Warning, each item must be placed in the bagging area.
Not guaranteed.
Place item in the bagging area. Place item in the bagging area.
You know what AT&T guarantees? Connectivity you depend on, deals you want, and service you deserve. Or we make it right. Terms and conditions apply. Visit att.com/guarantee for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Back to the break.
Changes everything.
Paul, I thought you were going to do the damn one.
Paul tripping,
Oh my God.
Paul set things up and then not following through.
Man, Paul just back there texting, just doing anything.
Paul, you tried to redeem yourself and you just made it worse. Nah. That was terrible.
Hit the button. It's just a button. Just...
All right. This next question, I think it plays into exactly what we were talking about. So I'll just ask it anyways, but it might be the same answer. What position group will define whether this team makes the playoffs or not?
I see where you're going. I should have said, to me now it's the wide receiver group, but
we'll just give you a different answer.
But I'll tell you, I'll give you a different answer. I'll tell you the different answer. It might be, gosh dang, I'm kind of stuck here. It might be the offensive line, but and I'll let you talk about the offensive line because I think that's your area of expertise. Yeah. I'll focus on this. Give me the secondary. Mm-hmm. Give me the secondary, because if all of a sudden Dallas doesn't have the ability to create pressures, it's going to be about coverage then.
Yeah,
it's going to be about playing those zone concepts and picking up guys running. If all of a sudden you're not replacing the pressures that you had at one time,
I like that
and you're
answer.
not getting the sacks, if your secondary is not good enough, and by the way, talking to some people in the organization, Hooker's toe, he was on the report yesterday as, don't worry about the toe. Everything's fine with that toe. So that's going forward. But I think the secondary, because I'm like I say, they've got to figure out with the Ezraku, they've got to figure out Sam Williams, they've got to figure out Fowler, they've got to figure out ways, even though the pressure numbers were up, I think a lot of the pressure numbers were up because Hurts against zone coverage is just not very good.
Yeah.
He has struggles finding where the space where he needs to be, so he was holding the football, and that allowed you guys to kind of rally in position. But it'll be the secondary. If this team makes the playoffs, I think the secondary will be the reason why, especially if they don't get the pass rush.
We said in the first and the second segment that, one thing that this offense needs to do is put points on the board and run the ball. And just watching the film, Brian, I think you were able to run the ball based on what this offensive line was able to do. You moved some bodies, Brian.
You did move some bodies.
I was so impressed with the Cowboys' ability to move bodies. And as of, recently, the Cowboys offensive line they've been more hat on hat guys, right? Stalemate. We're here. We're just getting in front, and then you just kind of read. You're pushing people now. BB's pushing people now. Booker, you're pushing people. The combos, right? Brevin span forward and Guyton, they're moving bodies. And now we're in the red zone goal line to where we haven't been great there at all. Now you're pushing Jordan Davis 3 yards to the side, right? So now if we're going to continue to run the football, and you said on the last show you want to see Williams get a lot more carries, let's run the ball some more. Like, Dak had about 30 or so attempts. Let's give Williams some more. When Blue comes back, whenever Jadon Blue comes back, then let's get him involved. I badly want the Cowboys to be a team, and I get jealous when I watch the Eagles or the Niners. They win these games where Jalen Hurts threw the ball 15 times for 110 yards, but they blew out the other team because they ran so well.
Ravens.
I want the Ravens to do it. I want Dak Prescott to go out there, hand the ball off, and maybe throw for 110, 12 attempts, but boy, Javonte Williams was just eating them up, and Jadon Blue goes in there and tears it up. I want the run game to kind of take this thing over. That can be great, but just like in the Romo administration, take some off of him so when you do throw, he's efficient. And let's keep leaning on the run game when we end up in the red zone and stuff like that. I know we're excited about throwing the ball in the red zone, but I don't need Brevin span forward to jump ball and jump over people. It's cool that you can, but now that you can hand the ball to Javonte Williams and you can push Jordan Davis 5 yards, let's push Dexter Lawrence a little bit. Double team him though. Let's push Dexter Lawrence. Let's push Deron Payne and all those guys. So O-line for sure.
After week one, I think you do have the personnel to create that balance, the right balance between the run game and the passing game. All right, which young player could become a breakout star by mid-season, let's say?
A breakout. You would love for it to be Donovan Ezraku. We're not allowed to talk about a buddy that just went to the other team anymore because the chat will get mad. But if you're missing something there, then you want your young players to kind of fill in that spot. And Donovan won't be buddy that just left and went to the other team. But if Donovan Ezraku gets you 7 sacks this year, I think that's a pretty good win for you. Technically, Marshawn Nealon is a young guy. He's a year 2 guy. So if he steps up as you can trust him to lead the way as a run defender, and then he continues to get better as a pass rusher, then now Marshawn Nealon's a guy. I think he's going to be really good, Brian.
Yeah, I like what you did there. I think Nealon is the right answer there. I'll also throw this one out at you. How about Tyler Guyton?
For sure.
How about Tyler Guyton? How about all of a sudden, how about with Tyler Guyton is in his ability to every week get a little bit better, have a little bit more confidence. I think he played like a confident football player in that game the other day. Wasn't pretty, wasn't ideal all the time, but watch Penny Sewell going against the guy you just traded away.
Yeah.
One of the best tackles in the game, and you watch him play against Micah. There was some struggles out there. Tackles are going to struggle. But this one, I think, if you start to talk about a young guy that's playing with a little bit of confidence right now, that has the ability, because the athletic ability, he's working on his strength, he's getting a little bit better understanding, and he's getting experience. And I think that's the guy that could have at the end of it, could be a guy that has that breakout kind of year where we're like, oh, we were worried about the left tackle spot. Well, we're not having to worry about the left tackle anymore.
And honestly, if we get to October, November, and Jadon Blue is getting you 100 yards a game, we throwing a party. Like, so,
absolutely.
That's what I was going to say.
We happy as hell.
But he's got to play.
Yeah,
He's got to find a way to play.
Bryan, what did you make of Shotty's comments regarding Jadon Blue?
I think Shotty has been very, very honest, and I think there, as you like to say, there were previous administrations that wouldn't be that honest. I know the Jason Garrett administration would never admit or never come out and say a player wasn't playing well and he wasn't doing everything he needed to do. I don't think Mike McCarthy was always very critical of his guys. I'm sure somebody will clip something and tell me, oh, no, he did this. But I feel like that with Brian Schottenheimer, he's very honest. And if he's using the media to send a message and these players say, oh, I don't listen, I don't watch, I don't hear, well, you might not, but your family does, and they let you know, and now you've heard. But yeah, he sent him a message basically saying, listen, you got to practice hard on Wednesday. You got to practice hard on Thursday. You got to finish things out on Friday. And if you do all those things and you take it from the classroom to the field and you're able to do all those things, I'll play on Sunday. Yeah. And I think message sent and probably message well received.
Do you guys think, Amber, let me ask you that, like, that's good for the locker room? Like, the answer is yes, but just like, hey, this is the message and we're consistent with this message. Like, I don't care who you are. And there's a lot of hype around Jadon Blue, and I'm sure that the guys in the locker room know that. But hey, we're just gonna roll with Javonte because you ain't picking up third downs. And if we were to let you out there and you don't pick up a third down, you get that killed, right? Yeah. So that's like consistent, like with this message that Shotty is saying, right?
Well, I think if Shotty didn't had not put the work that he's put into building a culture, I think that would be a problem. Initially, when we talked about all these little outings, activities that he was doing for the players, you wonder, okay, is he going to be too nice, too soft on the players? And then you get something like that for him to speak in that way. It gives a strong voice, a lot of validity that he's going to hold players accountable. And yeah, some people might say, oh, well, keep it in private. Well, no. I mean, you don't have to sit there and lie either. I think Shotty, he's very honest, and that's why he's so well liked. And I think he continues to build character and popularity in that way, holding each player accountable. And I don't think he's killing the players and saying anything terrible. He's just making it known what needs to happen.
I think the guys, he started this all out the way he's handling Mozzie Smith.
Exactly, yeah.
The thing with Mozzie's been very consistent. Now, maybe the front office wanted to keep Mozzie Smith. Maybe the coaching staff said, well, okay, if we're going to keep Mozzie Smith, we're going to make him earn his keep. And if Mozzie Smith ain't earning his keep every week, then, Schottenheimer says on the Friday meeting, I'm thinking about sitting Mozzie Smith down. Okay, well, then you go out and you dress JT and you have the success that you had. I wouldn't touch the defensive tackle rotation right now. Yeah. I'm not making Mozzie Smith active. Matter of fact, he with the number of tackles you have, Winfrey was inactive. Mozzie could be inactive, and you could be just fine with the guys you got. There's no reason to dress Mozzie Smith unless, in fact, you feel like that he has made enough progress in practice. But I wouldn't touch that group. I wouldn't take JT and those guys off the field right now for Mozzie Smith. No. Now, even though he's playing against, and Voch, you and I know this, John Michael Smits is a guy that he tends to play pretty well against. But it started, this whole thing with Jadon Blue, it started with Mozzie Smith. They've been really consistent. Bring him into the office. Hey, you've got to improve. You got to be better. Just because you're a first-round pick, you don't get to do these things. So I think he's being consistent with that.
Bryan, you made a great point because I'm just on social medias all the time. And there's this talking point that Winfrey is out.
Yeah.
That means Mozzie is
out.
No. I was like, nah, man, both of them were just out.
Well, you got too many defensive tackles.
Yeah,
you got too many. You could honestly, you sat Winfrey because of the spasms, and you could sit Mozzie again, and you've got the same rotation you run out there against the Eagles. I wouldn't touch it right now. I would not touch it.
Well, just like you mentioned it yesterday, I think after the performance that we watched against the Eagles, and especially when you talk about the run defense, that area of focus, it was really good. Yeah, the quarterback escaped, but again, you contain the running back, and that was huge. And I would like to see the same thing. And Winfrey, he's a guy that you see the upside, you see the potential.
It would have been nice to have
see the
him.
potential.
Him and Clark are a perfect pair for guys that are playing on the other team's side of the ball. Yeah.
So it's a nice to have when he comes back, maybe depending where you're at, then
might be
you
really
throw him
good.
in.
Yeah, JT might be really good. It's kind of the same thing with like Mingo, until, like you say, Flanoy and Tolbert. I think Tolbert's on alert right now myself. Tolbert.
He's been stepping it up.
Well, Tolbert needs to figure out, though, too. Because I think that was a very, very quiet game for him. Tolbert needs to find a way to get going here.
And maybe my bar has kind of lowered to where
What's it has?
I think that's probably why.
I would say
I'm like, he's been doing better. But
Ambar, your Tolbert bar is right there on the ground.
oh my god.
Ooh.
Nah.
Terrible.
I'm talking about
for him.
blocking better. We all root for him.
Sure.
We root for these players to.
But
be,
it's your
but we got to play.
What is it now? 4?
You're 4, right?
This is the problem. If Tolbert's not going to be on the field catching passes, then you're out there to block and tackle people on teams. Florino is a better teams guy, and Florino is a better blocker for you. So Tolbert is on alert, Brian. That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we end the show. Tomorrow, we're going to start the breakdown. Cowboys defense versus the Giants offense. Bryan brings the full breakdown. And Voch, you guys know he's going to have all his questions ready and comments to talk about this game, which he thinks it will be an automatic win for the Cowboys.
I would never say that on this
Giants.
He knows better.
I'm just a fan, and I'm just going to walk into every game saying the Cowboys can beat the hell out that team, especially this week. But I think the Giants, and we're going to talk about it more tomorrow, because I think there are challenges that the Cowboys have to deal with, and if they deal with those challenges, then we can expect some positive outcomes. But Dexter Lawrence ain't just going to go easy.
No.
Well, we'll get into that full breakdown tomorrow. For Voch Lombardi, Bryan Broaddus, and Ambar Garcia, this has been The Break on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!